Hello again, welcome to the channel. My name is Dina. Thanks again for watching and I hope you're all doing great. Plants named Zebrina and plants with stripes on their leaves or petioles are so eye-catching and absolutely wonderful. They are the topic of today's video. I have 3 Zebrina plants in my collection. I have the Tradescantia Zebrina, the Calathea Zebrina, and the Alocasia Zebrina. And I admit I faced some challenges growing these plants in my home. So if you're thinking of getting one of these to add to your collection, keep watching and there may be something in this video helpful for you and maybe make your plant life easier. First up is the Tradescantia Zebrina. In my opinion, a true beginner's plant. It is also called the inch plant because the nodes on the stems are supposed to be an inch apart as long as it's given enough light. Now it is a trailing or creeping plant, and what makes it great for beginners is that it is a fast grower. You will have a full plant in no time and you can start propagating right away. Propagating it is so easy. It's basically taking a couple of stems here and planting them straight into the soil like what I've done in this small pot here. Or you can take the cuttings and place them in a glass of water to root. This plant is said to prefer a moist environment and is said to be sensitive to extremes in soil moisture. But in my experience, in my environment, I found it to be hardy. It can stand some dryness in the potting mix and it wasn't dramatic as some plants where I see the leaves droop as if it's dying if the potting mix is a bit dry. The challenge with this plant though is keeping its bushy form. As the stems grow longer, they sort of fall to the edge of the pot here, which is lovely, but I end up having a bare patch in the center of the pot. Now to fix this, I can either cut some stems and plant them straight into the soil here in the middle, or I can prune back the stems, all of these stems here, and the remaining stems in the middle will start pushing out new growth and make the plant look fuller again. Another Zebrina in my collection is the Calathea Zebrina. Now this is another plant that has eye-catching striped foliage. This is a level up though with regards to plant care. For me, this plant is more high maintenance compared to the Tradescantia. I mean, it needs more attention to keep these leaves here looking lush and healthy. This is my Calathea. This pot was originally full with several established plants and the leaves were large and lush, and this is how it looked now. What happened was I left the plant in a low light area in winter. There was no added light, and in the middle of spring the stems were noticeably stretched out and the leaves also looked dull. Most had brown edges. I still have some leaves with brown edges here and it wasn't a good look. I had to cut off most of the leaves. It was like starting all over again with the smaller leaves, and the thickness at the moment is just about a third of its original size. I've read that this plant can tolerate low light, which I agree with, but it will definitely not thrive. What I've done differently is that I'm now giving it more light. It is getting bright light from where it is positioned from the transparent roof up to 12 hours a day this summer. If you have a spot near a window, it will do well right next to a window that gets a lot of bright filtered light and no harsh light that can burn the leaves. In my home, a west-facing window can get really bright, but the sun can also be really harsh even through sheer curtains. So just be aware of how intense the light is that goes through your windows and position the plant accordingly. My plants in general do better with bright filtered light for long periods, say about 8 to 14 hours a day compared to a shorter period. I also try to keep the potting mix just moist enough and not soggy, and not letting it go dry as best as I could, and just really keep watering the plant consistently. I'm keeping it on a pebble tray and either mist it or have a humidifier near it, and so far the new leaves here are looking good. It will take time though for the plant to get back to its original size, but at the moment it looks like it will make it. And last is the Alocasia Zebrina. With this plant, it is the petiole or the stalk, and not the leaves that is the most attractive part, although I also love the arrow-shaped leaves. This is not my first Zebrina. I had one 2 years ago, but it only lasted for 2 seasons. I had no idea what I was doing back then. For me, it is not a plant suited for beginners. Now, this plant is said to be a fast grower, but in case you missed the disclaimer like I did, it is a fast grower only if the plant is given ideal conditions. Now, in my care, this Zebrina has only grown 1 leaf in summer and 1 this fall. But on a brighter note, maybe this plant has multiple corms growing under the soil and will just one day push out a new plant. Who knows? This plant loves consistency, consistent light, moisture, humidity, and temperature. It does need more attention than the Tradescantia to thrive. In my care, it does get a lot of bright light, about 12 to 14 hours this summer, and I keep the potting mix moist, especially in the warmer months. I missed it a lot, and I also use a humidifier every now and then. In winter, this plant was indoors and positioned away from cold drafts. I'm just starting to get the hang of watering alocasias and how to keep the potting mix moist but not soggy, especially in the warmer months. Despite my best efforts not to overwater, my Zebrina got these yellow spots here, which I've read may be from overwatering, but luckily it's only on 1 leaf. If the light is not enough, the petioles stretch out, become weak, and look like they can't stay upright. For my plant, I found that using a stake helps in supporting the petioles, especially as they get older and weaker, like this one here. Without the stake, it will flop and disrupt the growth of the plant, or worse, topple the pot over. I guess as the plant matures and given the best possible conditions, the petioles will be thicker and will not need the stake for support. And that's 3 stunning plants for you to consider. Which Zebrina would you love to have in your collection? Let me know in the comments section. That's all for today. Thanks again for watching. Please remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Press the like and the bell icon if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next